Okay, hi, welcome back. What do we have today? Right, so I haven't been necessarily the happiest in terms of the pace of how things been going, but that being said, yesterday this idea came to me to say, hey, when you're doing a zombie game, you want to be able to shoot off the limbs of the character, right? So, character creator is going to allow you to be able to do things like generate an entire character, add here, change clothes, that sort of thing. But when it's finished, it's generating a solid mesh, right? So, what I wanted to do was I wanted to be able to isolate parts of the character so that you can blow them all separately. So what I did was I came into ZBrush, and remember, you don't want to change the character creator's topology. So what I did was I essentially took the entire face or the entire head actually and flatten it down to this part of the geometry for the character. So that's only the first step, right? So this was more of an exploratory exercise to see what was actually possible, okay? So then I brought that back into Character Creator itself, and voila, it was like, okay, this can be done, right? So this is just the head geometry in isolation, and in order to be able to get the full character generated out of Character Creator so it can be utilized within ZBrush itself, not ZBrush, Unity or Unreal, the game engine, right? I ended up doing an export a while ago, and the quality of the export in terms of the number of polygons was within budget, which is kind of changing some of mine. So I dropped down from number of level of detail exports down to 1. I don't want to keep the original avatar. And then I said, okay, wait, no. How about I merge? And I'm saying merge all, and I want 2048 as the dimensions. And then I did the export and brought it into Maya. If I head over to Maya quickly, this is what I got, right? So let's see if I can select some of the geometry here. It's interesting. It's taking its own sweet time. Right, there we go. So this entire character, as exported, is under 8,000 polygons. Now notice it has fused the head to the body, which would make shooting the head off tricky. But the quick win that I've got so far that I'm really happy with is the idea that I have got the entire character down to this polygon count. So let's go back over to Character Creator for a minute. I don't want to do an export. It does take some time to do that. So if I select just the here, that itself is 8,000 polygons, which is, that's half, that's the budget for an entire character, right? So that's what the actual geometry itself looks like, just for that part of the here. If I was to go for the upper end of the here and drop that down, that is 21,500 polygons just for this end of the here. So the idea that whatever has been generated is giving me in Maya now from the actual import is 8,000 plus points. It means that if I had, say, 10 characters of that size in the scene, I could easily manage 80,000 polygons, right? So that's pretty good. The only downside here is that it has merged the head onto the character. So that's going to be the next bit of exploration that we're going to do now, is actually see whether or not we can say, okay, fine, maybe if I hide that part of the head, I can export it out separately. But in any case, I'm relatively happy with what I've got there now. And we're going to just go into the second phase of being able to figure out how we're going to separate this. Now, in theory, you can make the game without shooting the head off the character. It's just that this is something that a lot of the modern day games do, and users have become used to getting that kind of functionality or feedback while they're playing the game. So I could have said, hey, it's version 1, and hey, you've got the characters, so just take the characters in and let's get going, which I'm tempted to do. But no, really, it would be nice to be able to get that kind of functionality in. Even if it takes, an extra couple of days, it means then that if you do have, like, I don't know, 5 or 10 different types of zombies, they all conform to the same kind of feature set, as opposed to doing the full run and then when you get to the finish line, you're like, oh, it would have been nice had I done X way back when. So we're going to put a bit more effort into it. Again, we've already been able to isolate it within ZBrush itself, so we can have the geometry separated to the body. We know that we can take that back into Character Creator, and then even knowing then that the actual body itself, if I can just quickly isolate that section there now. So I'm just gonna select everything. It's just taking a bit of time to catch up, right? So we're gonna hide everything. Okay, come down to the base, and yeah, so that is interesting. That is very interesting feedback. So if I just select that there now, you can see you're seeing what should be the face geometry there collapse down onto the neck. And then when I exported, I essentially said, make sure to delete anything that's not shown. So all that section inside here was deleted, or at least that's my perception. Okay, so we're going to carry on with the exercise and see how we get on with this.